Today, we saw Donald Trump embark on a cynically opportunistic media tour through a hurricane-struck North Carolina in an attempt to boost his numbers in the polls, and one resident of the state named Matt Metcalf wrote, "Donald Trump is standing in front of the broken rubble of my neighbor's homes flashing a French fry certification pin. My home was ravaged by one of the worst natural disasters in recorded history, and he is making it about him. I can't say what I think of this man in public." That is why we are here, Matt. Throughout this video, we will illustrate how Donald Trump has leveraged this natural disaster for his own political benefit and, in the process, hurting citizens in states like Florida, North Carolina, Georgia. For example, this is the clip that Matt was referring to where Donald Trump gets a French fry certification pin, and behind him, there's just a bunch of rubble. Take a look at how absurd this is.
Offered because, you know, I also own McDonald's restaurants. I know that you perfected your skills behind the counter a day or so ago, and it was my honor to present President Trump with the French fry certification pin.
I thought Donald Trump was about to say this was better than the Medal of Honor, better than the Medal of Freedom. And keep in mind, Edwards over here on the right had to debunk Trump's lies in North Carolina a few weeks back because it was hurting his constituents on the ground. And again, that's going to be the overarching theme of this video. The team over at MeidasNews.com just released a great article titled, "Trump Caused Traffic Jams for Asheville Residents." Trump snarled traffic in a hurricane disaster area to show off his new McDonald's pin. This article reads, "Trump visited North Carolina today and snarled traffic, causing delays for residents of Asheville who are recovering from Hurricane Helene. Residents were trying to get to work, were trying to get to supplies, were trying to take steps to get back on their feet, but they were thwarted by the Trump traffic jams, and this is not the first time we saw this happen. A few weeks back, right when the hurricanes began to ramp up, Donald Trump took another opportunistic event and went to North Carolina, and we got reports that the roads were blocked off. You see right here, Donald Trump's escort driving down in North Carolina. The Trump campaign posted, as they customarily do, footage of Trump's entourage driving on a freeway that has been cleared. Such actions cause delay and road closures for residents. Clearly, I have been to many Trump rallies and we drive past these massive road closures that are made for the Secret Service, for them to escort Donald Trump, and yes, it inhibits traffic. And the worst part is, Donald Trump didn't even go here to help the residents. He went here to spread lies that hurt people on the ground. We'll get to that later.
So that's the only thing I can say. And certainly you have all heard the same stories that we all hear, that FEMA has done a very poor job. Our FEMA, when we had a problem, we did record rescues. And
nobody's been hearing those rumors. You know, Governor Roy Cooper said they're not true. FEMA's doing amazing. DeSantis said the same. Kemp said the same. Donald Trump is talking about rumors that he himself created.
What the job that FEMA did under the Trump administration was really incredible. But they had spent, in all fairness to FEMA, they had spent hundreds of millions of dollars doing other things that I don't think bear any relationship to this money. They were not supposed to be spending them.
Again, these are more lies. There are two separate budgets for FEMA that go through Congress, one to help immigration, one to help natural disasters, and this dude over here, this dude debunked this lie to help his citizens understand it, and look at his face. Look at this dude's face while Trump is telling this lie. He is absolutely disappointed.
Money on taking in illegal migrants, maybe so they could vote in the election, because that's...
He's cringing. This guy is cringing and he's disappointed. As I showed in my video earlier, he came out and denounced all of Trump's lies. Let's return to this Meidas News article. Trump's arrived in eastern Northern Carolina for a photo op where he received a McDonald's French fry certification pin that we just saw that he didn't really earn. In social media posts, residents described how the traffic jams impacted them right here. In Asheville, reddit.com/Asheville. Here's what happens when a heartless narcissist is more interested in a photo op than a region's actual on-the-ground needs. And you see the same highway with cars piled up. Do we have anybody from North Carolina, from Asheville, in the comment section below? One Reddit user reported that roads were locked up for 3 hours. 26 is so bad on the Southside Hendersonville Road is locked up all the way from exit 44 to the Fletcher Ingalls. That's over 3 miles. Worst traffic I've ever seen here, all for that dork to get stroked off by his cult followers at a photo op and repeat the same FEMA lies. That's the worst part. It's all just lies. Another user stated that it took him forever to drive just a half a mile down the road. In another exchange, they stated that the GOP's FEMA lies have been debunked and now the GOP is just spinning to cover their ass. Somebody named Ash is Evil, which seems to be a play on Asheville, said, "My friends were stuck in traffic while they were headed to a meeting to speak to insurance about their house that was destroyed." Again, their friends were stuck in traffic while they were headed to a meeting to speak to insurance about their house that was destroyed in the disaster that Trump is trying to save. "We had been staying off the roads but had an appointment. We had to abandon it less than 10 minutes from home, and it took an almost 2-hour reroute just to get back home. I kept wondering what would happen if an ambulance had to get through. Disgusting. Trump brings plague and pestilence everywhere he goes." I always wonder that too. How does an ambulance get around traffic? Do they just do this cut around it? Somebody else said, "I was literally late for work this morning because of it, and I always give myself an extra 30 minutes. Someone said it's awful, I hate it." And this is after Donald Trump claims to be for the people. We have a lot more stories, but let me show you some more on the ground effects. This article reads, "Man blames Trump and MAGA cult for father-in-law refusing FEMA help." As Americans across the Southeast continue to reel from a devastating 1-2 punch of Hurricanes Helene and Milton, one man says the storm-related disinformation campaign peddled by Donald Trump and other Republicans is tearing his families apart. So Anthony said his father-in-law is unwilling to accept assistance from the Federal Emergency Management Agency, or FEMA, and this is because Donald Trump has been telling lie after lie. Quote, "He has refused all FEMA help because he's a hardcore Trumper," Anthony told Abrams. "He literally believes that if he accepts anything from FEMA, they're going to take his house." I'm going to screenshot this right here and send it into this group chat where we have half liberals, half Trump supporters, all my friends from high school. We're always arguing about politics stuff. It's a tale as old as time, and I'm going to say, how can you guys support a man who leverages his position? People trust him to lie to them, to rug pull them and lie to their faces. Disinformation about the Biden administration's response to the storms across the Southeast has been running rampant on social media thanks to people like Donald Trump, thanks to people like Elon Musk. I mean, who needs adversaries like Russia and China spreading disinformation when we have not allies, when we have people in our country doing it, like Trump and Elon? Someone on Reddit said, "This is exactly what I was talking about the other day. Trump doesn't give two shits about Asheville. This is just another gimmick to make him look better than he is, just like the fake McDonald's shift. None of this will benefit the city. It will just cost the city tens of thousands of dollars to stroke his ego. He's always been an unfit leader, but his rampant dementia is on full display." This one is wild. "My dad has been volunteering at a supply distribution area in Black Mountain and said a woman drove all the way from Old Fort and she had to go out of her way to get off a different exit and sit in traffic forever just to get there. So Trump could do an event." Someone said it took me 3 hours to do a supply run. Someone said it took me 3 hours to go to an appointment and get back home. We needed to do a supply run but had to wait. Someone said the shipbird had the airport blocked off and it took 40 minutes to get to work. Could you imagine? Other Asheville residents on Twitter stated that Trump's visit closed down the busiest highways. And remember, we already read this post that is going viral at a rapid rate that says, "Donald Trump is standing in front of the broken rubble of my neighbor's homes flashing a French fry certification pin." This is a survivor of a hurricane being taken advantage of by Trump for his campaign. Pat AD on Twitter said, "Asheville resident here to explain how pissed off the whole city is right now since Trump has closed down our busiest highways during the middle of a Monday. This is the last thing we needed." The same person said, "I have now heard from multiple people who were unable to make it to doctor's appointment, portable water distribution sites, or lost transportation options for the day because of this. Trump doesn't know how to properly manage anything. We saw this with the pandemic and how he handled Puerto Rico." Take a look at this clip of Governor Brian Kemp saying there's a lot of noise in the presidential campaign, and Trump has threatened to throw this guy in jail because he didn't flip Georgia.
State. And I would just, look, a lot of noise out there, as you can imagine, a lot of distractions, which in my opinion is not what we need to be doing right now in the presidential campaign.
He's just saying there's a lot of distractions in the presidential campaign. He's talking about Trump. The article finishes by saying Trump made people living in a hurricane disaster area late for work, unable to get clean water, miss appointments to get hurricane relief, and doctor's appointments, all so he could do his fake photo op and show off his French fry pin. Here's Mark Cuban explaining further why Trump is a terrible leader.
You know, one of the critiques, obviously, of former President Trump is around tariffs. And yet it's not clear that that unto itself is landing, if you will.
No, it's not.
I wonder why I ask, because, by the way, if you remember, even last week, President Trump was out there saying that, he had killed deer from going to Mexico, which was just not even true. It was just
he
it
lied.
was completely like factually untrue.
That's who he is.
No, and yet that does. The question is, why doesn't that land?
Because they're so used to it. He's Pinocchio and his nose is so long it looks like a road. It doesn't matter. No one pays attention to what he actually says. What actually happens, Andrew, he says something and then Joe comes in and explains what he really means. He never says what he really means, and it's unfortunate with the tariffs. That's part of what I was doing in Phoenix.
You're talking about me again? You're out on the campaign trail. I'm not. I mean,
no, I know.
I have to be here because we book you and let you talk for a half hour without anyone, opposed to you.
No,
so
Joe,
I'm
come on,
into that
oppose
position,
me. Joe, oppose me.
Which I wish
I will hit you with facts every day.
I'm not out campaigning. I'm not a surrogate. I don't know who I'm voting for, Mark. So
Good. No, Joe, what? Joe, you know what? If you don't know who you're voting for, that's a great thing. I think that's beautiful.
There
I don't
you
know
go.
that.
Good. Thanks. I mean.
I love them. I love Mark Cuban. He is so funny. And I want to end this off by comparing our two candidates. Here's Donald Trump claiming that Kamala Harris can't put two sentences together.
Something is clearly wrong with her. She can't put two sentences together.
This is coming from the dude who barely has a basic grasp of the English language. What is it? Man, woman, camera, TV. I can't even remember what the words are, but this was Kamala Harris at the same exact time. Let's see if she can't put two sentences together.
But if I can just speak to what people are feeling. We cannot despair. We cannot despair. The nature of a democracy is such that I think there's a duality. On the one hand, there's an incredible strength when our democracy is intact. An incredible strength in what it does to protect the freedoms and rights of its people. Oh, there's great strength in that. And it is very fragile. It is only as strong as our willingness to fight for it. And so that's the moment we're in. And I say do not despair because in a democracy, as long as we can keep it in our democracy, the people, every individual has the power to make a decision about what this will be. And so let's not feel powerless. Let's not let and I get it, overwhelming nature of this all make us feel powerless, because then we have been defeated. And that's not our character as the American people. We are not one to be defeated.
Damn, VP Harris is going off on the campaign trail. I cannot think of anyone more qualified to be the president right now, man or woman. And I really hope she can win. She will make an absolutely amazing president, and we'll cover that more. Make sure you drop a like. Make sure you subscribe. We're so close to 600K. Have a great rest of your day, and peace out.